The monsters fight the power, fight the power, fight. Hello there, heroes. I'm the Orange Ranger, and welcome to another comically long review. I'm still working my way through the core MMPR Boom Comics series, trying to get caught up with the more recent awesomeness. But hey, this series has pretty much been awesome from the word go, so it's not like it's been a trudge. And to be honest, I don't think we really need any more setup than that, so let's take a look at Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, issues number 8, 9, and 10. Interestingly, for issue number 8, I did not get the standard cover. The standard cover is an unmorphed Jason and a morphed Tommy fighting off putties that are climbing the Dragon Zord. It's an interesting action shot. But I got the unlocked villain variant cover, a shot of Finster shaping a monster out of clay as an army of little monsters play underneath him. It's a nice shot, but one thing I don't like about it is that they treat it like a poster, shoving all of the relevant comic information, even the issue number, to the back of the comic. We open on Bulk's YouTube show, though we clearly are seeing it being filmed. As we can see, this is being shot on an iPhone or a Me phone or whatever they're called in this universe, since you can see the home button. Anyway, Bulk tells his viewers that sadly, he cannot disprove Rita's claim that the Rangers have been defeated. And despite my saying that surely some of the world's leaders would capitulate to Rita, it seems like they've all scrambled together their own military campaigns, which, as you might expect, aren't doing very much against Zords. Bulk points out that the city is being evacuated, or at least large portions of it, due to the fear of another attack by the Dragon Zord, which has not been seen. Bulk wonders where the Green Ranger is, and we see that he's still on the moon, still getting pinched by the Black Dragon. Who knew Black Dragon was actually Tommy's grandma? Gonna pinch your cheeks! Black Dragon gets kind of personal with Tommy, telling him he had it all with Rita, and gave it up in a futile fight for good. Tommy says dying on the moon isn't in his plans, and disengages the Dragon Shield, a thing that he can do without giving it to someone else, I guess. He calls Jason for a status update, and between issues, he's woken up. By the way, last issue I said that he was knocked out of the Dragon Zord. I think I intended to say that he was just knocked out. If he was knocked out of the Dragon Zord, he'd probably be dead. He can't get control of the Dragon Zord, and Tommy says that he can see the palace so he can make a run for Billy. Jason tells him to stick close to the Black Dragon since he's Zord-sized and can't maneuver small. Tommy flits around and picks up a big cannon that the putties had. He blasts the Black Dragon, but he just claps and sends Tommy flying. There's a nice subversion of a trope here, as Tommy taunts the Black Dragon, saying, "Oh, he'll only fight him as a giant, huh?" Black Dragon agrees with this and shrinks down. Tommy strikes, and this is normally a flag for defeat, but the Black Dragon just keeps beating Tommy around. He goes to finish Tommy off, but stops, even prompting Tommy to ask him what he's waiting for. Apparently, he was waiting to get headbutted by the Dragon Zord. Jason teleports Tommy back inside, and they leave, since the putties have returned to fortify the palace and the Black Dragon hasn't gone anywhere. Meanwhile, Trini has confirmed that they are getting a signal from Alpha. She manages to establish communication, and Alpha says he's in pieces in the trash, but did get a look at what Rita was doing. Before he can share the information, Jason returns with Tommy and the Black Dragon's arm. I was really confused by this at first, since I wasn't sure how he got it. But looking back, it does kind of seem like Tommy might be holding it here as the Dragon Zord leaves, and we see the Black Dragon's shoulder with wires sticking out of it. Anyway, there's a bit of technobabble blah blah after that, and it just amounts to, yeah, we're running out of time. Back up to the moon, where Rita is getting on Black Dragon's case for letting the Green Ranger get away. She doesn't understand why he can't just take Tommy's powers like the others, And frankly, I don't think he does either, because he just parrots the accessing the morphing grid in a different way line that we've been getting, and then throws in a tropey line about wanting to take Tommy down at full strength. That's actually kind of funny when we think about something that happens later. When Rita asks why he wants Tommy at full strength, he can't answer that, and Rita points out that he hesitated. He promptly changes the subject, saying he's just trying to help Rita take over the Earth, and Finster brings him a new arm. He promises the next time he meets the Green Ranger, he won't hesitate. Rita is skeptical.
I'm hesitant.
We get sort of an unnecessary scene between Billy and Goldar, which just shows that Billy is trying to build a rapport with Goldar since they're both prisoners. There's a much better scene after that as Zack approaches Tommy, having heard that he fought the super big version of Black Dragon without a Zord. He apologizes for giving Tommy a hard time, which reflects not only the respect for fighting the giant, but the idea that Zack does understand that Rita picking someone to be her Green Ranger doesn't mean that person is evil, because that's what happened to him. When Zack says again that he's impressed Tommy fought the giant creature alone, Tommy jokes that if he could have switched places with them, he would. That gives him an idea. He goes to the others, and I'm gonna cut through a bunch of the multimodal reflection sorting here.
Now, you do know what a bilateral cololateral is.
Well, of course I do, human. I am not stupid.
Black Dragon used a phase blast to take the Ranger's powers by using that same phase blast to access the grid through Billy's coin. So, if Tommy holds his morpher and blasts the Rangers while they morph using the Black Dragon's arm, maybe they can access their powers through Tommy's link to the grid. Alpha confirms that this should work, but it would split Tommy's powers 4 ways and thus not allow him to be morphed. He's fine with this. He can't stop the Black Dragon alone, but together, maybe they can get the Zords back. The Rangers morph, Tommy activates the metaphasic shielding or whatever, and we see a look of surprise on his now unmorphed face. Why? Because before him now stand 4 Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. 4 green Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. That's different. Oh, and it's a pithy note to end this on, but only Jason gets the shield? Issue number 8 was quite a breezy read, actually, and is by far one of the shortest review segments I've written for these comics. It just doesn't feel like a whole lot actually happens. The battle on the moon wraps up, and then everybody just talks for the rest of the issue. It's another one of those plot transition issues, which is funny because it's following a plot transition issue, but it really just serves to direct the story to its next big moment. A team of Green Rangers. Issue number 8 gets a 4 out of 5. Issue number 9 has the fairly standard single cover and 4 variants, plus 1 more that came out for a second printing. But once again, Boom shows their interesting and rather awesome tendency to save their best cover for the one that goes in the comic book stores, the regular on-the-shelf cover. The Power Rangers leap at the Black Dragon. Just look at the dynamic pose on that Green Ranger, and the graceful pose on that Green Ranger. There's a huge Dragon Coin logo behind them, and a thing I really like is that while their suits are all green, their weapons have their actual colors. I thought that was a nice little touch. There is actually another awesome cover, and it's the one I've gotten, but I'm gonna hold off on talking about it for now. The Zords are poised over major world cities as Rita's deadline is almost up. Black Dragon readies the T-Rex to attack, saying it starts there. I'm not really sure why all of the Zords wouldn't just attack at once. But as the clock hits 0, there's a bright green flash. It's Jason teleporting down in front of his Zord in an awesome single splash page. Though, if I must nitpick, like I said last time, why is Jason the only one that gets the shield? None of the other Rangers do, but it seems like all of them should get a shield and just have that power divided evenly. Black Dragon, as I just said, is right there, so he blasts Jason. He's amused they found a way to morph, but says it doesn't matter because he has control of the Zords. Or does he? Jason says that now that he's morphed, he can access his Zord again. He asks the other Rangers if they're in too, and they are. However, the team is down a Ranger still, so Black Dragon still has control of the Triceratops Zord and has it start attacking. The Dragon Zord moves in to stop it. Black Dragon grows to fight Tommy himself, punching the Dragon Zord in the face and telling Tommy that he shouldn't have come alone. However, Tommy did learn his lesson. 1, he's controlling the Dragon Zord via the Dragon Dagger, and 2, he's not alone as the other Zords move in. And this is when the Rangers form the Mega Dragon Zord, right? Or the individual Zords attack and fight. I guess that works too. Goldar and Billy watch this from the Dark Dimension because even prisons have cable these days. Goldar even does a little play-by-play of how badly Black Dragon is doing. Billy and Goldar basically talk about how neither of them are fans of this Black Dragon. Goldar because he just showed up mysteriously and doesn't even think this is the creature's true form.
Final form my ass!
Sorry, couldn't resist. Goldar observes how he can change size at will, and the armor adjusts for the size difference. Billy asks if they can zoom in on the neck of the Black Dragon, and they can, because even prisons these days have cable that lets the prisoners hold the remote. Anyway, he spots an access hatch. Oh, and hey, Billy points out the weirdness of the prison TV, asking how they're able to even see this. Goldar says the Dark Dimension belongs to him. Just because he's a prisoner inside it doesn't mean that he can't control it. Billy asks if this means he could get out or even get someone else out. The access hatch means the Black Dragon is mechanical. More or less, it's a Zord. And who is better with mechanical stuff than Billy? Billy pitches that if Goldar can get him out of there, he can get the Black Dragon shut down, and that will give Goldar a path back to Rita's side. Enemies of our enemies. Enemies of our enemies. Goldar opens a portal and lets Billy go, telling him not to make him regret it. Billy teleports to Tommy, the portal apparently having dropped him back off in the moon base, which let him grab his communicator so he could teleport. He explains to Tommy how the Black Dragon is a Zord and says if they can get inside, they can shut him down. They teleport over to Black Dragon and get inside, searching for a power source. Black Dragon is still beating up on the Zords, and Jason notices that the Dragon Zord isn't moving. He calls Tommy and gets updated on them being inside. Billy points out a glowing orb on the wall, a nice touch that Billy doesn't say anything since Tommy is the one talking, and Tommy smashes it. Black Dragon starts to power down and fall over. Whee! And then a new problem. As the Black Dragon falls, it starts shrinking. I'm guessing the Zord is piloted remotely since the people inside do not seem to shrink along with the Zord. Billy and Tommy try to teleport out, but something is blocking the signal. The Rangers pilot in their Zord so they can do something. Tommy and Billy are about to get squished, Tommy even sending a goodbye to his mother via his friends. There's a bright green flash, and the Rangers assume that Black Dragon is fully shrunk, Zack even screaming to pull the thing apart. The Zords pull a piece off and the Rangers hop inside. There's no sign of the two, but Trini looks at some of the fallen parts and makes a weird discovery. These are pieces of the Dragon Zord. Meanwhile, Rita gets contacted again by the mysterious figure. She's surprised that they're alive, but he confirms what I said, that he pilots the Zord remotely from his own plane of existence. Rita said that he made big promises, and he says he still plans to deliver. He knows exactly where Billy and Tommy were teleported to. His world. Okay, anyone who's even a casual Power Rangers fan probably at least knows the name of this guy at this point, so while I'll save the story details for later, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the debut of Lord Draken. He says the two of them have no idea what they're in for. Issue number 9. Okay, well, first of all, the debut of Lord Draken, especially on that big splash page, is striking, but... Oh, wait, that reminds me, by the way. So, this is why I held off on the cover, just in case some of you hadn't seen or heard about this before. The cover that I got for this issue is Lord Draken holding his helmet. It's incredible, of course. Okay, back to action. To me, I really had to separate the reveal of Lord Draken and what I know that means for the story later on from the rest of this particular issue. Issue number 9 is a nice little resolution to the whole cliffhanger about the Zords. The issue really had the feel of the Rangers doing whatever it takes, fighting the good fight, whatever they had to do, regardless of the odds. And it also featured a nice bit of guile, with Billy convincing Goldar to let him out of the Dark Dimension, which turned the tide. Issue number 9 gets a 4.5 out of 5. The series moved into double digits with issue 10. Well, technically speaking, it moved into double-digit number of issues with number 9, since that was the 10th issue because of issue number 0, and moving on. You can tell right off the bat that issue 10 is going to be the comic equivalent of a Billy Focus episode. The main cover features the team taking a fight stance, but we can see Billy's eyes through his visor. 2 of the 4 variant covers feature Billy as well. One shows him repairing his Triceratops Zord, and the other is him morphing, a beautiful shot which I believe all the Rangers have in a series of covers. We start with the Rangers fighting... I'm not even sure what kind of monster that's supposed to be, at the National Mall in Washington, D.C. I wonder if Kimberly was disappointed when she found out it wasn't that kind of mall. Anyway, I have to say one thing that I really like about these comics is their ability to change locations. I know it's a limitation of the show, but it always struck me as a little bit funny that Rita, Zed, and even other villains on down the line would insist on attacking Angel Grove instead of another major city in the United States. Angel Grove was an analog for Los Angeles, but if you think about it, Los Angeles is a big city, sure, a big driver of the economy, but it's definitely not the most important city in the country. I do understand it's where the Rangers live, take out your most powerful enemies first, I guess, but it just seems like if you're trying to invade the world and you're going to start in the United States, you start with a city like Washington, D.C., the center of power for our country. As the Rangers fight, Billy is narrating something. To skip ahead a little bit, he's reading from a book called A Hero's Quest, but Googling that, there are several books called A Hero's Quest. I Googled one of the phrases he used and nothing really came up for me. So this might be made up for the comic, but it sounds good. By the way, we have another guest artist this time with Corin Howell. The art is pretty good, the only noticeable difference being really thick borderlining on characters. But that does stand to make them pop out a bit from the background, so I was okay with it. Anyway, the monster has some strange ability to grow and regrow arms and tentacles, and basically hold all the Rangers at once. Billy spots some kind of a power core in the monster's chest, but it's keeping it well guarded. Jason and Trainee shoot at the monster's arms to spread them, and Jason tells Billy to take the shot. But Billy is anxious and hesitant, especially since the monster is really gross and scary, and when it growls at him, he can't do it. Kim jumps in, taking the shot, and maybe that's something you should have had your archer do in the first place, Jason, and the monster is destroyed. Billy apologizes, but Kim says it happens. He's still not sure, which is what leads to him reading A Hero's Quest. He's looking over this in the morning as he gets ready for school. He then does something very strange. He morphs, but then somehow can make the suit disappear. And then he gets dressed and leaves for school. So basically, he's morphed, but not. Anyway, he walks by some people talking about the Rangers, saying whoever they are, they must be the bravest people ever. Billy sighs, not feeling very brave. In the cafeteria at breakfast, lunch. Anyway, we get to see what Billy's reading, and it turns out A Hero's Quest is a modified version of The Hero's Journey. The Hero's Journey is a 17-step breakdown of most heroic myth, popularized by Joseph Campbell, though compiled and refined by a number of people. The diagram we see in the book is even basically identical to a diagram on the Wikipedia page for The Hero's Journey, just with the terms modified slightly. Long story short,
Get on with it!
Billy is trying to learn how to be a hero. Trini walks up and asks what he's reading, and he says it's a book about change. Like, spare change?
That was not funny.
I'm sorry, but that's more of a Kimberly joke. I'm not saying that Kimberly is dumb, but Trini definitely isn't, so it was out of character. Is she just waking up? Of course, Billy says it's about how things change. They hear a siren and Billy freaks out, but Trini tells him to relax. It's just a siren. Right, just a siren. Like the one that goes off when monsters attack. Do you not even want to check in with Zordon? By the by, Howl gives Trini an almost goth look here. She's wearing a choker, and it looks like she's wearing heavier eyeliner, but that could be because, as I said, this artist just uses heavier lining around just about everything. We then see Billy in battle against putties and a giant pig monster as he outlines the steps of the hero's quest. Hear the siren's song. Follow it into the dark forest.
The dark forest.
Push through the twisted thorns. Witness the lake of sorrow. Dive into it. Face the beast of the lake. Let him consume you.
Excuse me, what?
This is a part that confuses me, both in the hero's quest here and the actual hero's journey. Why does the journey of a hero require the hero being defeated? Now, as we're going to see here in the hero's quest, it's actually referring to literally going inside of the enemy and destroying them from within. But in the hero's journey, which is the real-life version, by the way, it's actually more about literal death and resurrection, and that just seems to go against the goal. Now, this is something that's worked backwards from various myths and legends.
Legends of the Hidden Temple.
Right. Anyway, so it was really more of a trope of those early stories than something that's a requirement in writing them today. But I still just don't understand then why those early stories all seem to include that confusing element. But now I'm getting a little off track. Then tear out his heart. Or her heart, right? Return to your kingdom with your trophy. Return a hero. Yes, Billy, return to the command center with the giant heart of a giant pig. Anyway, summarizing what was going on during that speech, Billy basically shot some putties, found a bomb, turned a putty into a rubber band, and used that to launch the bomb at the monster, shooting it in midair and destroying it. Zack walks up, unmorphed and looking just a touch hologramish. Yes, Billy teleports back and we see that this was training in the pocket dimension. He says he's going to grab a shower, but then wants to run the simulation again. After he leaves, Zack asks Alpha just how many times he's run the simulation since the fight at Washington Mall.
Well, Billy has asked me to change the scenario slightly each time, but for each to require him to take an impossible shot. By my calculations, this most recent attempt brings the number of simulations to, let's see, 64.
Yeah, Billy's getting a little into this. By the way, I love the visible shock marks around Zack's head.
What was that noise?
Zack follows Billy into some kind of command center break room or something, where we clearly see he's reading the book again. Zack asks what he's doing, and he suddenly changes tracks. He's apparently working on the morphers, trying to add nifty new features. Now, he has disassembled tech parts in front of him, so it might not be a complete lie, just clearly he's trying to cover up that he's reading the book. But Zack sees past this and grabs the book. By the by, the cover has a sticker on it that says, "Now with more quests." But that joke doesn't really land because the hero's journey is an academic study. I guess it could include some of the stories to help demonstrate the ideas. Zach kind of makes my point, saying it's like a formula, right? Billy kind of breaks down here, saying it should be. Zach asks him what's going on, and Billy says that everything is hard for him right now. Zach tells him to open up about this, and Billy gives a little speech about how everyone wants to be a hero, a superhero, to believe they're capable of being the hero of their own story. But not everyone can be. He has followed the formula. He's gone around and around the hero's quest, and it hasn't changed him. I don't know, Billy. I didn't see you once jump into a lake and get eaten by the beast of the lake. Anyway, he says he's still so scared that he has to stay morphed under his clothes, and I still wonder how that's a thing that he can do. Like, I get removing your helmet, and I guess once Tyler and Coda jumped out of their Dino Charge suits, but what is this? Zach tells him that feeling fear is, human and natural in this case. He shouldn't fight those feelings, but accept them. But what kind of a Power Ranger is scared? A smart one. The monsters they fight freak Zach out too. He just knows that he has friends with him and he's not fighting alone. Zach tells Billy to do whatever he has to. If he needs to stay morphed, stay morphed. Life doesn't follow formulas. He just needs to remember that he's never alone. Never alone gives Billy an idea, and then we see him showing the other Rangers. He's tied their communicators directly into the morphing grid so they can communicate and teleport anywhere, not just to the command center. The other Rangers are astounded, and all of them thank Billy for this amazing advancement. The bell rings for class, but Billy stops to return a book to the library. He says out loud, not everything has to follow a formula, which is truly a big lesson for the scientific Billy. The last shot is a single splash page, but it's odd. Billy has returned the book, but his hand is spread out and clearly a few books further down. I'd get it if it were somehow demonstrating that he wasn't morphed anymore, but how would you convey that if his suit was invisible? Issue number 10 is a lot like issue number 5, a flashback issue that gives us character development. This time it's for Billy, and being the most unlikely of the 5 to become a Power Ranger, this is actually a great look at how he grew and developed in that, becoming brave and learning how to fight. We did see that over 3 seasons of the show, and this was a good look at a similar kind of development. The new art from the guest artist was different, but it was nice, and I just really enjoyed it. My only criticism is, just like issue 5, this comes right after a cliffhanger and made people wait a whole other month to see how it was resolved. Issue number 10 gets a 4.5 out of 5. So, are you heroes ready to see how the cliffhanger with Tommy and Billy resolves? Well, sorry. The readers of the comic at the time had to wait a month. You just have to wait another week, because that's going to do it for another Comically Long review. Thank you, heroes, so much as always for watching. Make sure to like the video by clicking that like button, the thumbs up button right down below. And while you're down there, in the comments below, let me know what you thought of these issues, as well as my review of them. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel to see all my videos, and ring that bell. Get your notifications set up so you can get notified of whenever I post brand new videos just like these Comically Long reviews. And if you'd like to lend a little financial support to my channel, there are 2 ways that you can do so. Head on over to ko-fi.com/OrangeRangerVideos. You can get me a coffee set at $3. But to donate more or a different amount, you can head over to digitaltipjar.com/OrangeRangerVid. Toss any little amount of change in the tip jar. I'm grateful for whatever lands inside. Until next time, heroes, may the power protect you. I'm still working my way trying to catch up with the more recent awesomeness. But hey, we open on Bulk's YouTube show, though we clearly see... Meanwhile, Trini has confirmed that they are getting a signal from Alpha. I'm gonna cut that, The Zords are po. He's amused that they found a way to morph, but say it. Anyway, he spots the weirdness of a Enemy of our enemies. Shit. Billy teleports to Tommy via portal. Yes, Billy teleports back, and we see that this was training in the pocket dimension. He says, yeah,